I have stolen princesses back from sleeping Barrow kings. I burned down the town of Traben. I have spent the night with Felurian and left with both my sanity and my life. I was expelled from the university at a younger age than most people are allowed in. I tread paths by moonlight that others fear to speak of during day. I have talked to gods, loved women, and written songs that make the minstrels weep. You may have heard of me. Over the course of The Name of the Wind and the Wise Man's Fear, we've heard many legends about Kvothe, and we've seen the truth behind many of these, which often end up subverting our expectations. We've seen him sort of burn down the town of Traben, we saw him speak the true name of Felurian and survive a night with her, but we've yet to see him save a princess from sleeping Barrow kings. Not to mention, we still don't know which king it is that he kills that gives the series its name. There's still many stories that are waiting to be recounted to the chronicler on day 3. And while we still have no hint at a release date for the 3rd book, Rothfuss has recently stated that he's feeling a lot better about it.
Are you feeling better about the book than I have previously? Yes. Better about the state that the book is in, and better about doing the work. I've managed to square away certain elements of my life that leave me with enough emotional space to do more work and have it be better work.
And surprisingly, over the last few weeks he's been more open and has given us some new information, including the identity of a Barrow king. Feyda, the first king of Vintas. King in life and king in death. In one of Rothfuss's recent live streams, he tells us that Feyda brought together a bunch of petty squabbling sea kings and formed the nation of Vintas, which is a very important country on the continent of Temerant. The city of Severin is one of its major cities, and this is where Kvothe spends a lot of his time in the 2nd book as he works with Mayor Alvaron. You may also remember that Ambrose is now 12th in line to the Vintish throne. Anyway, he goes on to show us a brand new coin that he made with Shire Post Mint.
This is a Vintish penny, and here you see, this is Feyda, the first king of Vintas.
If we look on Shire Post Mint, the description reads as follows. As king in life, Feyda is shown in chainmail flanked by soldiers below the sun. He holds a map and a downward pointing sword. As king in death, the Barrow Drog wizard king Feyda holds an upward pointing sword and a branch of hemlock. Behind him are greystones and a crescent moon. Feyda Calanthis was posthumously declared the first king of Tar Vintas. This coin was struck after Feyda died and is thinner than the coin struck when he was alive. The penny is scored in such a way that it can be bent and broken in two, resulting in 2 vintage halfpennies. If you break this penny to make change, it is only polite to offer the other party the choice of which half to keep. You will be able to buy these coins both on World Builders and on the Shire Post Mint website, and Shire Post Mint made a different version that's slightly thicker. I think this is supposed to be like the ones that were minted when Feyda was still alive, and these are going to be exclusive to the World Builders charity giveaway. I'll have all the links to these down in the description. Let's take note of a few details. First of all, on the death side, there's greystones instead of the Sea Kings. Now, obviously, greystones play a big role in the Kingkiller Chronicle, and they're rumored to be gateways to the Fey Realm. Perhaps Feyda is locked away or sleeping in the Fey Realm, but somehow has eyes over Vintas. And maybe through Kvothe's perfect ability to screw everything up, he'll be awakened and brought back into Temerant once again. Now it is interesting how there's a tree on the back side. Could this be the tree of the Kvothe? There's no other tree that I think it could be. Besides being able to lure people with its perfect knowledge of the future, the flowers of the Kvothe tree, known as the Rinna flower, acts as a panacea. It's able to cure any disease or heal any wound. And beside the tree, there does seem to be some type of flower. Or it could possibly be a Celis flower, which we do know grow in Vintas. This is the flower that Kvothe compares to Denna, in that both are often sought but seldom found, and if you're not careful handling them, then you could lose them. Though I'm not really sure what either of these flowers would have to do with Feyda. Rothfuss tells us that Feyda is a dead king, buried in the proper way. A man with the will to make a nation, and a man such as that does not merely die if he does not not wish to. He comes back as Wizard King Feyda, first king, always king, in his Barrow watching over the lands. Through his will alone does Feyda continue to watch over Vintas.
I am always king. I might not live forever, but you will never be rid of me. You'll learn a little bit more about Feyda in Book 3. I mean, Phaedra's already come up in the books. Kvothe literally says, have you not read him? I have stolen princesses back from sleeping Barrow kings. Right?
Now let's go over some theories. First of all, where is Phaedra's Barrow? Obviously, it would be somewhere in Vintas. However, it's possible that the ancient lands of Vintas used to stretch out much further. There is the Barrow Hill that's located on the Mothen farm. However, Kvothe seems to believe it's most likely an old fortress rather than a barrow, but I wouldn't rule it out entirely. But what about the university? There's several hints that there is a barrow hidden beneath the university. Kvothe even describes the archives as looking like a giant barrow, and there's part of the archives called the tomes, but because of its crypt-like quietness, students often call it tombs. And not to mention, Feyda has a dream that she goes through the four-plate door and discovers that Valeritas was the name of an old dead king, whose tomb was behind the door. I did make a video on what's behind the four-plate door if you want to check that out for some more theories. In that video, I talk about how there's a secret door with no handles or hinges that's on the oldest part of the Lackless lands. Now, the Lackless is one of the oldest families in Vintas, and it could be that the ancient Lackless lands extended as far as the university, meaning that the four-plate door would be the Lackless door, and it could be that this door leads to Phaedra's Barrow. But what about the princess that he steals? I believe this is Princess Ariel that's briefly mentioned in The Wise Man's Fear. I think this princess is going to have a much bigger role in Book 3, and myself and many other fans believe that this princess could be Ari. I made a video a couple years ago going over the theory that Ari is Princess Ariel, so you can watch that for more details, but in short, the Underthing is called her kingdom in the name of the wind, and she's never dirty despite living in such a dirty environment, and there's many quotes about her having royal-like qualities. Elladan even bows to her, and the name that Kvothe gives her means either gold or golden in Latin, which could be a hint at her royalty. Elladan was so surprised when he heard the name that Kvothe gave her that he decided to take him on as a student, so most likely his natural naming ability came close to her true name, Ariel. Let me know your thoughts on this theory. So there you have it, Feyda is the first king of Vintas and the sleeping Barrow king mentioned on the back of the book. It's still up to debate where his barrow is located and who the princess is that Kvothe steals. However, I think that Princess Ariel is most likely Ari. Let me know your thoughts and if you have any theories, and if you like this video and want to see more like it, then make sure to like and subscribe. Last week I made a video about why you should read the Kingkiller Chronicle, so if you have some friends that you want to get into this series, maybe consider sharing that video with them. And hey, maybe check out my merch shop. I got merch both on Teespring and on Redbubble, and I just reopened my Etsy shop after a long break, so if you're looking for bookmarks, I'll have that linked down below as well. With the help of my patrons, I've been able to upload videos on a more regular basis, and I want to give a special shout out to my most recent Knight Radiant tier patron, Steel Sanders. Thank you to all my patrons. I'll be working hard to make more content than ever on the channel this year.